Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I go by the name of Caution Mr. 700. Reporting live from AllOva Media Studio, live in Dallas, Texas. 8204 Elmbrook Drive if you're looking to pull up. Book is available at allovaoverall.com. Let me raise the applause because we got some special guests in the building today. And, you know, normally we keep with the natives because, you know, I'm not a big Zoom interview kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's very impersonal. I'm with it if necessary because of the constraints, but the in-person shit is always fire. You know what I'm saying? So what I'll do is I'll go right to left. I'll let these individuals introduce themselves and we'll get to it, man. Starting with you, my man. Let the people know who you are.
I'm Notes82. I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, sir.
I currently live in Columbia, South Carolina, but I'm glad to be here.
No doubt, no doubt. How about yourself, my brother?
Yeah, man. I'm hip hop artist Jonnie Floss, aka Mr. Clever One-Liners, aka LL Cool Floss. You know, I got a few, but I'll stop it there.
Listen, man, listen, let them know. If they don't know, let them know.
Yeah, I'm happy to be in Dallas, man. I appreciate you having me and having us.
No doubt, man, no doubt. I feel like this is what the this situation for me is about. It's what the intent was, starting it, coming into a situation like this. Not only for those that are local, but you know, those anywhere that could use some good quality content to help push and promote whatever they got going on, man.
Yeah.
So what brought y'all out here, man? Let's get into that. Like, what brought y'all all the way this way south, man?
So I'm gonna say for me, I built a relationship with this guy a long time. I think he's the best engineer in the world, King Sage. And I'm gonna stand on that. I mean, from the first day I met Sage, I told him that you're the best engineer I've ever worked with. But I'm out here actually recording an album, cover art.
Okay.
And Sage had a package with his company, up and coming company.
Right.
That's gonna be in the next couple of months. That's gonna be really running hot. Artist Connect. So we did a package, and I came out. He put me up in the house. He has a recording studio there, so we're recording my album cover art that is dropping in 2025. So
nice.
that's why I'm out here in Dallas, Texas.
Dope, man. It's always good to see creatives get with those that can help further and push the craft, and you know, also just genuine individuals that, you know, down to earth people that could kind of, you know, tell you some shit that you wouldn't know and help you get your product to be 100%.
Correct.
But let's talk about you, my brother. How long you been in the business? How long you been at this shit?
So I'm gonna say my love for hip hop has been, I would say, since I was 8. But as far as a recording artist, I've been recording since I probably was like 18.
Okay.
And just currently now, the last probably 8-9 years, I've been currently pushing hard, putting out projects.
Facts.
Doing my business the right way, as far as with ACAT, BMI, and all that other stuff, getting paid the correct way. So yeah, man, I would say probably almost, I don't like telling my age.
Nah, you ain't got to go no further. You said what you said, and that's all that matters. You know
but I think about for like the last, probably, I want to say a current active artist for like the last 9 years.
9 years? Okay.
Yeah.
So you can put over your 10,000 hours in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
How about yourself?
Yeah, same with me. I would like to say a professional artist because, you know, you get to learn the business, you get to actually make some money off what you're doing, whether it's through the music, whether it's through publishing, whether it's through merch, or whether all those things are important. All those things, I think, make you a professional. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, moving in the right way, you know what I'm saying? And also too, to be 110% honest, what brings me here is I'm being a student.
Okay.
You know, Notes extended the invite. My bro Sage extended the invite as well. I'm just here to just soak up some game, you know, learn some things and try to use it and apply it to my brand. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say to some people out there that it may not always just be about you all the time. This is honestly not about me. This is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, sometimes you just gotta, you know, put your side, your ego aside and put your pride aside and just, you know, learn. You know, take some notes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Me being, like you said before, being around some like-minded individuals that's on the same wavelength as me. I feel like that can always help. You know what I'm saying?
And how long have y'all two known each other?
What you say, Johnny?
That's the crazy part. We ain't even know each other that long.
For real?
Yeah. I don't even think it's been 5 years, to be honest.
It's probably been about 3 years.
Probably 3 years.
I would say 3 years.
Okay.
Just in and out of the circuit. Like I just had moved back from Columbia, South Carolina, and I moved to Connecticut. So when I had a chance to come out to shows and even come to the New York area, I would always get there and I would always see Jonnie Floss. Now the way we met was kind of crazy.
Right.
Like some drama with people that, you know, I kind of knew or whatever like that. But I think I was a stand-up person for him, where that drama that happened, I'm always a person that if you have drama with me, it's not real drama. I have a tendency to kind of fade away from that. I'm not going to pay attention to it, because at the end of the day, I'm that type of artist. I'm not a person that I want to be in rooms and I want to walk on eggshells. So I think with Jonnie, it was like when he knew that about me, that's when our brotherhood kind of went to the next level.
Expounded. Gotcha. So a lot of collaborations as far as music between you two?
Yeah, we got like, well, now it's like 7 joints now like, together. That's crazy. Yeah, when you think about it. Yeah. I think being around, like you said, like-minded individuals, people that's on the same wavelength, I think that's important. You know what I'm saying? Because, in this business, man, you meet more shiesty people than real people.
Yeah, man.
So
everybody's
the real ones
aren't always good.
Yeah, so the real ones that you come across, man, keep them close. Like I'm saying, that's going to keep you grounded, because you'll lose yourself in this joint. You know what I'm saying? Between, trying to keep up whatever the brand is, whatever you're trying to represent, between meeting people, between getting shiesty, getting done dirty, all those things, you know what I'm saying, can add up and take a toll.
It's a culmination of them.
The real people, man, I try my best to, keep close. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. So talk about a little bit about your history as far as your music goes. How many projects have you put out?
Oof, man. So, I would say currently I have 5. No, this is going to be number 5 coming out in 2025. But I currently have 4 albums that's out.
Okay.
So you want me to run them down?
Yes, sir. Please.
So first album that I ever dropped was called Reflections.
Okay.
And then I dropped. This is when I took on. The title for Sage being the best engineer in the world is in 2020, which was a devastating year for the world. I dropped a project called Watch the View. Which I think Watch the View was that standout project for me, where people kind of stood up and took notice. And as an artist, I came into my own and knew what my sound was, and Sage helped that sound as well.
Perfect.
So Watch the View, then Life Beyond the Lights. And then what was the last project? The last project was Watch the View 2, which was last year. And this year I actually decided to kind of take off a year, because Cover Art was an album that I wanted to, when it was coming out for 2020 and 2025, I wanted it to be that project that kind of stood out from the rest of my projects. Showing people the growth, putting a big budget behind it to market and push it out to the radios all over, not just in New York City, but maybe here in Dallas, somewhere down in LA and stuff like that. So, it's been a hell of a journey, man. And I love it, man. And I'm still, I think now I feel like how I felt when I was 20. I feel like it's like I've been reborn again to put this music out and let the world hear what Notes82 really has going on.
Right.
So,
no doubt. So how would you describe your sound as far as like what people can, because I know listening to it myself, if I was to give you adjectives that gave you the vibe that I felt, I would say very lyrical. I wouldn't say conscious, because I feel like when you say conscious, it puts you in a box a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't like to say that, but I feel like the content is relevant to those who they want the lyrics. They want more out of the song, the substance that goes into the music that we've all been accustomed to. So is that just a byproduct of where you're from and what you've grown up listening to and those kind of things, or is that just who you are?
I think it's a variation of everything, like that you just said. So for me, my story is, I grew up a pastor's son, and I think we had those labels on us. So going to church, that's a part of some of my content and my lyrics as well. Just being as authentic as you can possibly be.
Facts.
And I think growing up in the church, you didn't have a lot of that. And a lot of people say, "Oh, you in church?" No, you had a lot of people that kind of was hypocritical when it came to that stuff. So for me, I just feel like just my upbringing in the church, my mother with the whole, Saturday mornings cleaning up the house and listening to the Anita Bakers and the Temptations and the Commodores and stuff like that, that played a role. And then my love of hip hop, that came from my brother, like, bringing those Wu-Tang tapes home and stuff like that. Those right there is what kind of sculptured me into the artist that I'm in today. And then some of my influences, Tribe Called Quest, Common, Mos Def, those lyrical people that know. I mean, I think the world paid attention to them, but they didn't get the respect that they were supposed to actually get in those times that we were coming up in hip hop. So
they got it from the heads, but not necessarily from the masses. But I think there's still, I think the individuals like Dave Chappelle and people who had the mainstream platforms to be able to say, hey, these are the people who we really listening to in rap, and this is what's going on. I think that kind of gave them a more of a scope. But like, still though, I feel like if people were really listening and paying attention to that era of music, yeah, man. So I can, but I do get that listening to your music, bro. Is that what you're pouring into this new project, or which direction as far as sonically are you going for? Are you going more so like the boom bap, the heavy up tempo type shit, or is it a mixture of like other shit?
I think for me, I think Sage and Johnny's have been a part of that process of us recording. So I think it's just a it's a variation of everything. So boom bap, just trying on my new singles, trying something different. Actually trying to jump into other lanes and just showing people the versatility of Notes82. Because I think sometimes and I can say this for myself, I think sometimes people think my music goes stale, and I just feel like I don't want them to think that. I want them to know that I'm a artist that can get into a whole bunch of lanes. So sonically, it's still going to be the same as Notes82, but I'm kind of ramping it up. When it comes to how I want it to sound.
Gotcha.
So you won't hear Watch the View, because I think Watch the View is kind of on that sonic sound of, I was pushing for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like I wanted people to hear that sonic sound of Watch the View. So Cover Art is totally different.
Gotcha.
A total different vibe. And it's actually showing you I would say, the mature Notes82 as far as the music. It's showing you from taking you on a journey from reflections all the way up until now. Is showing you who I have turned into. So that's what it really is for me.
What's the motivation to continue to push and strive for what you're after? If you can even describe what you're after with all of this, like what's the motivation to keep you going, and what is it that you're looking to get out of what you're putting into this?
I think this is something I haven't even told Sage and Johnny. I think the motivation for me is my kids. To put my music on and for them to know the words and for them to vibe to it and say, hey, Dad, you could do this. That right there, I think this is the first time in my artistry of being an artist that kind of motivates me more. When your kids can say, hey, Dad, you can keep going. And you know, the jokes happen sometimes. Hey, you're an old man, you can't do this no more. But to hear my 16-year-old son say, Dad, like, you really got it, man. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep doing it. That's motivation for me, because they say, hey, why you tell us that? You want to motivate us by saying, do good in school. Well, why we can't motivate you to say, hey, Dad, go pursue. And it's not I don't think it's a dream anymore, because when you categorize it as a dream, I think that there's something you're pushing to. I'm already here. I've arrived already with who I am as an artist. So I think that motivation for me is my kids. That I think more than anything, they motivate you in life, but I think this is the first time in my music career that my kids are motivating me more to say, yeah, I'm going to push this to the masses, because they got to know who Notes82 is. And for them, I want, if I fail, which I'm not, that's not the mindset. My mindset is to succeed. But if I fail, I'm going to go down saying, hey, I tried my hardest to do everything I could to let the world be put on notice that Notes82 is here.
I had an interesting conversation with an artist the other day where I asked him, I said, do you still have that aspiration to be a rap star? Because, you know, coming into it, that's what we all see. We see what's been attractive to us as far as, I want to be in the forefront. I want to be the guy that's leading the Billboard charts. I want to have the world tours. I want to have everything that encompasses that. But as you go further into your journey, does that dissipate a bit, and does the focus change, or is that always still the goal?
That's always still the goal for me. It doesn't matter, because like I tell people, music has no age on it, right?
That's a fact.
So if a label comes to me now and the situation is the right situation, and I'm gonna go. Well, I always have to sit down at the drawing table with the general. I call my wife the general. She's the general. I gotta sit down with her. And
shout out to them, man.
And if it makes sense, and shout out to my mother too, because she's still around too.
Good woman.
But she's a hound dog when it comes to these contracts, and she could be an older woman than I, but she's gonna sit down and go through that contract with me and stuff like that.
It's important.
Definitely your lawyers, but if that's always the goal.
That's interesting.
That's always the goal, man. Like, you know. At the end of the day, if you're saying you're just doing it just to be doing it, I don't know about that.
What you really in it for?
What you in it for? So
because that's the mountaintop. You see what I'm saying? Even if it's whatever, and that's always dependent upon what your measurement of success is as well. Because certain people may look at it differently, like, hey, this is what I see out of it that I like. So maybe I don't want to be famous. I just want to be rich off of it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it goes hand in hand. But I do think that's interesting for older artists because I think hip hop is probably the only genre that puts an age limit on things.
Yep.
And I think that's an unfair comparison because in other genres they can go on as long as they want to. You can be a brand new artist at 40 and put out a rock album right now and nobody would care. You know what I'm saying? As long as it goes well, or a country album, or you see what I'm saying? So I think that's interesting, man. I got a question, a regional question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between music in the 5 boroughs? What's the difference between Brooklyn and Harlem? Like, give me what's like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to rank it as far as hierarchy goes, because I know that'll get messy. But what do you feel is the difference in that separates Brooklyn from the other boroughs?
You want to go?
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I think, Brooklyn is more of a gritty kind of sound. And right now they're heavy on the drill.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Harlem, is all about swag, all about, how you looking, how you dressing.
Still to this day.
Talking that, like, that certain things are just not going to change. Those two, as far as them are concerned. You know what I'm saying? Staten Island, of course, we don't include them, but they're included. You know what I'm saying? Because Staten Island is kind of its own entity. So they kind of just like, we know y'all ain't rocking with us, but we doing our own thing over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're always gonna chase that, nostalgic sound with Wu and Meth and Ghost and all them. This, what I'm saying? So that's what makes them fire. You know what I'm saying? Manhattan, unfortunately, is kind of like X'd out because Harlem is so dominating.
So it's kind of
it's kind of like nobody wants to claim Manhattan. It's kind of like if you ain't from Harlem, you ain't from Manhattan. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the difference.
That's dope.
As far as each of those, quote unquote regions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, I think that's an interesting concept because from an outsider, I've always been infatuated with New York culture. Like, even growing up in Compton, I remember I had a homeboy who got out of prison. He called me. He was like, man, you still read the newspaper? Because I used to get like the New York Post sent to my mother's house. I sent in like one of the cards that used to come out. So I just put our address on it. So I used to get y'all's newspaper and shit. Like, I'm a New York Giants fan.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Hov is my favorite rapper. So I've always, you see what I'm saying? So this is for me, like, these questions are important because, like, I've been in New York once, but I was on some tourist shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We stayed in Times Square and I got to be around there. I didn't really get to go too far. I went to a Yankees game. So I got to venture out a little bit.
The Yankees game is valid.
So I think for people when they hear about a New York artist, bro, now when you said the drill culture, especially, that's what they think about because it's more recent.
Yes.
But I feel like if you talk about Brooklyn, what I get is Hov, what I get is Fab, what I get is big, of course. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I get from it. But that's what come to my mind because I'm from a certain era, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there a mixture of the old and new there now, or is it just completely turned?
Yeah, no, it's a mixture. It's a mixture because you have a lot of the younger artists that's, on a drill wave, it's not a third, but people that just have that skill and they have that nostalgic feel, they're gonna get that love. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just recently performed in Queens and there were a lot of younger artists there, but when I got off the stage, it was kind of like, oh shit, like, he know what he talking about, he know what he's doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you always gonna get that respect because that's what hip hop is based off.
Yes.
That's the foundation, like the lyrics, the beat, the subject. You know what I'm saying?
So it'll always be a market for those things.
I think those things will like never waver.
Facts.
Everybody gonna have like their time and it's gonna be like, okay, this is the wave right now, but that's always gonna be the foundation as far as hip hop. And shout out to my fault for not mentioning the Bronx. The Bronx too. The Bronx, definitely. They got the spitters. So, it's kind of like Bronx and Brooklyn, we always got that because it's like, we got Jay, we got KRS, and we got Fat Joe, we got Fab, like, you know what I'm saying? So, shout out to the Bronx as well.
That's dope,
you know what I'm saying?
That's
no Queens, Johnny?
No, I brought up Queens, you know what I'm saying? But Queens, Queens got some spitters too, that's a fact. You already know. You got Nas, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got a few others, you know what I'm saying? So, it's always the New York culture, which makes it different, also keeps it the same because when we out of town, it don't matter if you from Queens, Bronx, or whatever. It's New York versus everybody. You know what I'm saying?
As it should be.
Yeah.
How is the up and coming scene in New York as far as like for an artist trying to get on? Like, what's the scene like? If you could, like, is it like one of those things where it's an open type of deal where, hey, you can just go up to talk to anybody, or like how, like, to get a show in New York, or to kind of like really put your feet there? Like, what's the scene like?
Well, so before you go, Notes, I think the original legwork is important. Yeah. Because that's how I got my name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, you know, for me and like us in this generation, we kind of like, we got lit with on the cusp of like the social media era or whatever. We had that nostalgic feel, but we were like right in the middle, like right before social media got crazy. We were trying to figure those things out. Right. So now that social media is crazy, you could get lit on social media, but in New York, you have to like make those connections, because when you step in a room, you're gonna want people to know who you are.
You are.
You know what I'm saying? So you got places that kind of like fell off, like with the Pyramid and, you know what I'm saying, with Element, those kind of places, they're not there no more. But a lot of people that are from our era, they remember those nights. They remember those days where it's like, all right. So now you got other places where you could go where it's like, okay, we gonna vibe. And yo, I remember you when you used to, well, whatever. Or yo, now you ever went to this spot over here? Because, you know, I know so-and-so from whatever. So the original legwork is still important in New York. Like,
very important.
Gotcha. Man, that is super interesting, bro. Like, I would really like to take a trip there one day to just kind of like document some of the, you know, each of the processes, because I think in other places like here, there's such a stigma for like local artists and like getting on and gatekeepers, and like those kind of conversations always come up. And I feel like it's that way in every state, in every,
exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think, you know, to see the dynamic of that is dope. And also, you know, to shine the light on those individuals that's out here putting in the legwork, like you said, that people may not be familiar with.
And I think that's where we from. That's what we need, right? We don't have a lot of that, what you said, like you wanting to do that. A lot of people are not willing to do that because of it's gatekeeping stuff too, right? So I think it's the gatekeeping stuff, and everybody has their favorites. But you got a lot of artists out here that's actually putting the work in, and they've been doing it for years, and that they're not being highlighted for that. Because I think sometimes they feel it does take money, right? But some artists feel like they're backed in the corner to be like, why has it got to be always I got to pay somebody to do this and do that? Now, I'm not going to say you can't pay people. You do have to pay people. But at sometimes we got to stop the gatekeeping stuff. And if people are really hot, come on, man, let's put something behind it and let's push this person out. You know?
I think it's the tie-in of like personal gain. Because that's always been the name of the game as far as the entertainment industry in general. It's like, why I'm not doing anything that doesn't help advance my own, you know, my own agenda. So if this doesn't benefit me, then why am I doing it? And then you have the culture, the cult effect, where I want to get my people on. And so I'm only gonna fuck with my people. I'm not, no matter if they're talented or not, this is who I'm rocking with. You know what I'm saying? So I think navigating those things are always interesting, no matter where you are. But I think what you're doing is great as far as this type of thing, being able to get into another state. You know, touch different mediums as far as music and media in general. So this is dope, man. I definitely appreciate y'all coming out for that.
And just to not to cut you before, but good. People got to understand too, like the social media era kind of like hurt the main thing of what we're in, which is networking. This whole interview today happened through networking.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know you before today. You know what I'm saying? And I'm from New York. We're from New York. You know what I'm saying? Sage is from New York. But him moving here helped the networking process. You know what I'm saying? Because of the relationships that they have built. You know what I'm saying? Which helped me, which helped us get here. You know what I'm saying? So you could get lit on social media and all that. That's cool. You could have your followers, this, that, and the third. But networking is always going to be important in this type of business. You know what I'm saying? So the same way you say, yo, man, I would love to come to New York, this, that, and the third. Now you know you got an outlet. You know what? Yo, I brought Floss on my show. Yo, I know he's from Brooklyn. Yo, I got to hit him and see where it's at.
That's a fact.
So now that opens it up for you, like, oh, I bet. Now I could go to my connection and be like, yo, put my man on, it's then the third.
Yeah, man, that's love.
You know what I'm saying? Off my relationship, now you on stage. So one hand washes the other.
That's a fact.
And now you got a whole nother region now. Because now once you say you from Compton, Brooklyn niggas gonna be like, oh, I want to hear what he talking about. I can tell you that for sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it happens to me all the time. Once they say, yo, Brooklyn's own Jonnie Floss, they like, oh, he from Brooklyn. Let me hear what he talking about. You know what I'm saying? So networking is always gonna be important.
It's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. So what are some of the things that you got coming up, man, that people should be aware of? Like, so, you know, I know the project is coming up. Anything else that, you know, you got coming in the near future? So
currently now I have a single out called Fallback. Also mixed and mastered by the wizard himself, King Sage.
Yes, sir.
So, and here's the thing too. For me, it doesn't always have to be current stuff. I have a lot of projects that's out. I have a lot of singles that I dropped over the course of the last 2 years. I got singles with this guy over here. Hip Hop Therapy is out right now with Jonnie Floss. But currently, right now, Fallback is out right now. But what I'm working on now, and this is why I'm here, it's just I'm treating this like a business trip.
That's a fact.
Cover Art, the album, my fifth solo album, will be dropping in 2025. It's going to be featuring Jonnie Floss, the likes of Jonnie Floss, the likes of my guy Clef, yeah, that's really it, man. Just networking and doing a lot of podcasts. Is just gearing up for the album to drop, and then trying to come back here. Sage has some things set up in Dallas, and I'm trying to come back. I'm trying to hit a couple of stages out here too, man.
Yeah,
so
man. Listen,
I really want to be working in 2025. I'm going to be going crazy. I'm going to be going crazy. You will hear Notes82's name all over the place.
That's the goal, man. What goes into your process as far as creating an album? Like, where do you start?
Man, for me, because people always say I create so quickly, right? So for me, I'm going to use cover art as an actual example. Cover art was something that I thought about almost 2 years ago. So that was like right in between Life Beyond the Lights. Cover art was something that I wanted to do and kind of and it's always motivation. I can't tell you a simple moment that made me want to create cover art, but I came up with the name and I just was like,
I was going to ask you that. Like, what went into that part of the process?
So I told Jonnie this story, right? So cover art it's actually a makeup of me being a kid. So my favorite movies, right? So I think that those kind of will show you what type of kid I was growing up, what type of man I am now when it comes to these cover arts of movies. So when you look at Back to the Future, what do you think about? You think about what? Marty McFly, right? You look at Above the Rim, what do you think about? Birdie, like, that's those artists that stand out. So when you look at my cover art, who is the star of this? Notes82. So it's just me covering, giving everybody a little bit of Notes82.
Okay.
Bits and pieces of Notes82. And then at the end of the process, at the end of the project, you can put it together and say, okay, this is who Notes82 is.
Right. So you start with, do you go into it with like beats first?
Yes, because they call me Rick Ross. They say I could pick good beats and stuff like that with the production. So it's always beats. It's always feeling too. Like, for me, I'm not going to even lie to you. So it's probably going to be a double project, but side A, side B. But I always start off, I'll start off with almost 50 beats and then I work my way from there.
Gotcha.
I'll start writing to stuff. Okay, this sounds like it can go. This sounds like it go. Okay, let's go with this. So it's always going to be me picking a whole bunch of beats, and it's always going to be me scrapping beats like, come on, don't go with it. Why did I buy this beat?
So you keep it widespread as far as your net. That when you're looking for producers, or do you? Okay, because I know a lot of people will do the one producer type of vibe, or maybe they have a couple that they work with. So you just kind of put the net and cast the net. And
I do have one particular person that I've always worked on. I think every project that I worked on, Tone Jones, he's based out in Georgia. I've always used him. He's not majority. This album right here, I actually used a couple of other producers that I had, like on Life Beyond the Lights. I got one guy called Young Swisher. He's super dope. Tone Jones, and then Dream Life Beats. But my main person to always go to start the project off the process is Tone Jones all the time.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Recording process, are you a writer, or are you going in 4-bar punch? How you go about that?
Oh man, I'm a writer, man.
Writer? Yeah, going there with a prepared beforehand.
I'm always wanting to be, I'm an extra credit type of artist. So I'm going to write all my verses, write all my hooks, and I'm not going to go to the studio until everything is actually done. And Sage to tell you that Johnny's been around for that. So that's my process. And shout out to Jonnie Floss for coming out here, because him saying he wants to be a student, I think a lot of artists should take note to that, man. Like, for me, I'm the same way too. I would like to be a part of, a project that he does where I could sit down and actually see his process of recording. And I'm definitely wanting to hear his perspective on it when we leave from here. Like, what is he getting out of what I did? Gotcha. Far as recording and stuff like that. But I'm always ready when I go to the studio. Always. I'm never one of those. I'm gonna sit there. Hey, Sage, let's have a couple of drinks, and I'm not wasting my time. Let's get it done.
Very, very business-like as far as the approach. I think that's important. I've been in sessions where people come prepared, and I've been in ones where they go in and just kind of spend an hour on a verse to lay because they can't coming up with it on the spot. I think if you have the time, that's one thing. Like if you literally have the time to do that, that's fine. So for those who like record at home or they have their own personal studio, that's fine. Yeah. But if you're paying for time that's booked and you don't have a studio budget, then I couldn't imagine you going in there, wasting time to get things done. Like I remember when I first started recording myself, I used to have a process where I would book 4 hours and I would write 8 songs. And in my mind, I should be able to complete 2 songs per hour. So it shouldn't take me more than 30 minutes. If I don't have a verse from somebody else or a hook from somebody else, I should be able to lay these thoughts, at least. Not mix and master, just me laying these thoughts to be able to get them out there. You know what I'm saying? So I always ask because I think that's interesting, man. Which part of the process do you enjoy more? Recording, the creation part of like putting an album together, or performing?
I'm gonna say the creating part of it. I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot.
Interesting. Most people say the performance part.
That's where that for me.
That's where it's at for
him.
First
it was. At first, not to cut you. Yeah. But at first, first of all, it's pretty even if you're an artist because it's like, of course, we love creating it. Right. But for me, knowing that I perform a lot, it's like, seeing the reaction once you make it. It's kind of just like, I knew this was going. Because sometimes you could be in it creating it and you could be like, when I say this on stage, I know it's going.
You kind of anticipate it.
So, shout out, he's not one of my favorite artists, but he's an artist that I respect and I like his music, Travis Scott. Right. Travis Scott is like, when I create, I'm thinking of the performance. Right. That's why I'm creating. Makes sense. So I'm kind of like transitioning into that. Like, I love creating it, but it's something about when it translates on stage. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a big deal, bro. I think the type of shows that you have, I think as you progress in that and you start to see like the bigger audiences sometimes, if you have the ability to connect with a larger audience, I don't think that there's a feeling as an entertainer that you can ever like quantify to that. Yeah. Absolutely. I think if you can get an audience of 300 to 500 people moving,
it's like, over.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, it's a wrap. You see what I'm saying? And so having the ability to do that, because I've always been on the creation side as well. Like I'm a studio rat. I love being in here. Yeah. I love being able to tweak and like make shit happen on songs that I really want. So if I want it to come out a certain way, I like that process. But like, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, being on stage has kind of changed for me here recently. Like you want to create, like y'all just said, for the stage. You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of like your testing grounds almost. Like, does this shit work here? Like, and if it doesn't, where else is it gonna work at? Like, streaming is fine. Physical sales, if you're able to do that. Videos, you're able to translate it as well. But I don't think you can capture an audience any other way like you can with a dope performance. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yeah, man. I next one you have, man, make sure I get a flyer or something so I can come check it out. As far as like, even if it's something you post online or something, like, because it's always good to like judge. I don't judge an artist, but to see an artist live is different than to hear his music.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this man right here, though, man, like, go on his page, man. Just go on Jonnie Floss's page. And Jonnie Floss, and that inspires me too, because like I told him, we had talks. It's just like, I'm going to be on the road a lot, like actually performing and stuff like that. So I'm getting back into the performance realm. Gotcha. So that right there, that'll be the test for me. It's just more or less about right now, I'm enjoying the creation part. But I think as I go along and get back into actually performing, then I'll be like all around. It'll be everything for me.
Cause you fuck around and man, I'm not gonna lie to you. The recording, like what I found myself doing now is like I recorded and listened to it for so long, bro. Like only because I'm listening for like, does this resonate with like a specific audience? Yeah. And am I tailoring this to be able to perform? Because what I did find is like I do a lot of rapping. Like I'm one of those rappers that do a lot. I'm very wordy. You know what I'm saying? And so like being on stage, if you wordy, like it kind of makes the performance a little bit tougher on you because you're trying to make sure you enunciate things and able to say things the way you've written them, because it's hard to do that, bro. Sometimes it'll fuck you up if you don't say it the way you wrote it. Yeah. One thing I had to get out of my mind was these people probably ain't never heard this song before. They don't know how the fuck you wrote it. Yes. So it's just those little intricate things in your mind. Once you tweak them, then it starts to kind of turn for you. But no, I think I ask every artist that comes here, bro. I mean, everybody I've ever interviewed, I ask that question, and a lot of them say the performance, but then like I don't see a lot of them perform either, so I don't really know. So no, that's dope, bro. I do appreciate that aspect of it. Any features outside of my man here on the project?
Yes, Clef. He's an R&B singer. He's on a track called it's a Juicy Flip, actually, from the Biggie joint that he's on. And then my guy Jerry G, he's on a song called 99 Views.
Okay.
So yeah, that's basically it.
Oh man, kept it clean.
Kept it clean. I didn't want to put too many features on it because, like I said, it's my first kind of like double project.
Right.
Where I want everybody to kind of, feel what Notes82 got going on.
Yeah.
It's just that these three guys are phenomenal at what they do, especially this guy right here.
Mm-hmm.
I call him top 5 Floss. So for me, I just think that I didn't want to have a lot of artists. And then remember, I'm not gonna say I took off in 24 because I got singles out and stuff like that. But I took some time to say, okay, you know what? When I come back, I want it to be about Notes82. So I didn't want to have a lot of features on it.
I think that can convolute things as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea of features, if it's not something that's a close personal connection, it should be something that enhances the project.
Yes. Yeah.
If it doesn't enhance the project, it's not really a purpose.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can look for a feature that you can pay for one that people know the person, and those are always cool. But like, I'm not gonna feature a bunch of people that nobody knows unless I really rock with you, because it doesn't do anything for either one of us. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of just putting people on songs and put them on there. So I respect that.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's a lot different these days as well, because a lot of features aren't done with the intent of like good music. They're all done for like, the sake of clout or getting ahead anyway.
Yeah.
So you get caught up in that, you'll kind of ruin the integrity of it.
We talk about that all the time because people want to work and then they don't even want to do the work afterwards.
Exactly.
Which is,
man, don't waste my
video,
time.
promote, like you know what I'm saying, even try to perform together.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying, it's a lot that goes into promoting a song. You don't have to just be putting it on the streaming site.
And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
It's like you said, you don't want to waste nobody's time.
Excuse me.
And it's just like, bro, if I know you ain't even promoting your own shit, I know you ain't gonna promote our shit.
What am I putting you
saying?
for?
So
the real work starts once you get out of the studio, once it's mixed and mastered. That's what's gonna show you what this feature's all about. Once you sit down at the table and you say, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and if you get that, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. It's over. It's over.
Cancel it.
Yep.
Nah, man, for real. Most up and coming artists, they struggle with, and I'm not putting y'all in this category because you all have kind of been at this for a minute.
Yeah.
But they struggle with establishing a sound of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And so you hear a lot of music from them that's similar to or alike something. So whatever it is that they listen to, or whatever the major influence is at the time, you'll kind of get that. What do you think defines your sound and separates it from those that are in a similar class of yours?
Well, I'm gonna tell a story. So when I first was kind of fresh out, like wanting to be an artist and kind of inspired to do that, I had somebody, I know everybody remember the chains of Circuit City, right? So that was kind of like my first job that I had or whatever like that. So I had a manager, her name was Sharice. We used to call her Reese, whatever like that. And my last name is Hutchison, so she used to call me Hutch. And she'd be like, yo, you kind of dope or whatever like that, but you kind of sound like you influenced by Hov and Nas or whatever like that. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I could tell you listen to them. And I'm like, what that means? She's like, yeah, you listen to them a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I do. So she always told me, hey, when you ever put out a project, don't listen. You can listen to the music, but don't oversaturate listening to the music, because then now you're listening to the artist that you actually inspired to be, and you're not inspiring to be Notes82. You're inspiring to be Nas and Hov. And let's be honest, I'm not Nas and Hov, and I'm not trying to be them. No disrespect. Those are legends right there. I'm inspiring to have their name of legend, yes, but to be them, no. So I think for me, I've always had that. My sound is always, if I'm in a creative space, I'm not listening to nobody else but Notes82. I'll go back and listen to my old music and be like, okay, so this is what I did. I don't want to do the same thing. Let me do something different. So that's my process, is not to listen to I don't really listen to the radio like that in this era, because it's just, oh my God, it's just ridiculous. The same stuff, and then some of the stuff is not good. So for me, it's always been, if I'm in a creative space and I'm creating a single, I'm creating a project, I don't really listen to other music. What inspires me is me listening to myself and then inspiring to do better on what I did the last time. So that's what it is for me.
Gotcha. What they say, the only competition is within.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Being a better version than I was yesterday. No doubt, man. That's dope. I enjoy these conversations, bro, because what I strive to do with what we have going on here is not so much just to talk about an artist and who's your favorite rapper or like you know the general questions.
Generic stuff.
Those questions.
I think there's a mindset that people don't understand that goes into what goes on with this shit, right? Yeah. And so it's hard to understand it if you don't live it. So, that's why it's always a stigma on like you tell somebody you're a rapper and they be like, oh, you're a rapper. Like, oh, okay. Just so a million other ones just like you. Yeah. Right. But the thought process is like, well, damn, there's a million other doctors. Nobody ever discourages somebody from being a doctor or a lawyer or a fucking bus driver. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's good to have these conversations because you give people the ability to see from your point of view. You know what I'm saying? To be able to know, hey, as an artist, this is something that I've always wanted to do. And regardless of whether or not you're going to go out and buy it, I'm still going to do it for the love of it. And so that brings me to a question of like, does the love ever go away? Or will this always be something that you'll continue to do?
For me, no. It's never gonna go away. Not to cut you notes, but nah.
You ain't got me up saying the same thing. You're speaking for me. Go ahead.
Because it's not just about music. It's about loving anything.
Right.
Like when you're a photographer, they love the camera. They love taking pictures.
Right.
That's never gonna go. They're gonna do that when they 8 or when they 85. You know what I'm saying? Same thing like you said about a doctor.
Right.
If you're a heart surgeon, you're gonna love, bringing somebody back to life. You can't really lose love on something that you actually love.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I'ma say that. I'ma leave that there.
I don't have the answer, man. He said the same thing for me.
Listen, one of my favorite Nipsey Hussle quotes is, you got where you at and where you trying to be, and you got all this other shit in between. It's not gonna matter when you get there. So
that's a fact.
It's just about the path and the journey, and getting where you trying to go. And once you get there, you can look back and reflect on everything that went into it. But I think while you're on that journey, the tunnel vision is always required to get where you're trying to go, bro. So
absolutely,
definitely, man. Thank y'all for coming out. Let the people know where they can find y'all, man. Social media, all that type shit. Your handles, wherever you want them to go, man. This is your time for it.
So I'm Notes82. You can find me on Instagram at Notes82 _ Notes82 on Facebook, Notes82 on TikTok, Notes82 everywhere. All right.
Yeah, I'm Jonnie Floss, man. On Instagram, I'm Mr. Jonnie Floss, MRJOHNNIEFLOSS. Everything else is the same spelling. Jonnie Floss. That's on Facebook. That's on Twitter. My website, JonnieFloss.com, is up right now. Yeah, man.
That's love. And shout out to my brother over here on the side. Let him know your name, man. Your mic is on too. Let him know who you are.
He wasn't sure.
The best engineer in the world, people.
Yes.
So everybody knows me as King Sage. Jabron Malik as the CEO, founder of Artist Connect. And we got an open mic night with Maker's Gym.
Let them know.
As a matter of fact, that's mad important. So I just locked in with Maker's Gym, which is a creative facility in Frisco, where they have all these rooms where it's podcast studios, video editing rooms, photo studio rooms, recording studios. Right. It's like a creative playpen, so to speak. And we're working with them. And of course, we have Artist Connect, which is the app that's basically the management tool for creatives and artists. Right. So to pay each other, to find each other, do agreements, all that stuff, that's what you use our app for. And as far as renting out the places you need to do the actual gigs, that's what you need Maker's Gym for. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, both those things are going to accelerate your career phenomenally if you use them properly. So we're doing an open mic night August 2nd. So that's next Friday at 7:30 p.m. Come out for drinks, food, good music by RC and the Grits, a couple of other artists that are going to be doing open mic. And
shout out to Job Born over there too, man.
Job Born over there. Job Born. And Job Born is the reason why I even linked up with Maker's Gym. So going back to connections and networking, that's another, huge connect that I'm really appreciative for.
Man, shout out to Job Born. I saw Erykah Badu got voted the #1 R&B artist of all time by Billboard or Rolling Stone or something like that.
Fire. That is fire.
Shout out to Job Born for helping create neo soul. Okay, if you don't know what neo soul and where it came from, it didn't start before Erykah Badu. It literally started with her, and they've been able to carry that torch for a long time. Also, go get Cognizant, Caution to Job Born if you ain't never heard it. Yeah, man, that's my brother, man. But he's doing dope things over at Maker's Gym. I'm gonna try to pull up to it, bro, so I can see it, because he told me about the open mics there with them, but I had never seen them in person. So I want to pull up, and hopefully they'll let me bring my camera in there. I know they do their thing, but let me pull up with the cam and check it out, man.
And we'll be sponsoring the next 6 open mics, and they do it every first Friday for the next 6 months. month. So August all the way into January, we're going to be doing open mics. It's going to be fun.
Super fire.
Listen, man, I appreciate y'all coming through. Shout out to everybody, man. This is what we unofficially call Thugs Mansion here in Dallas, Texas. We allow that for motherfuckers to pull up, man. Me and my brothers, we run a podcast here, which is All Over Radio, All Over Media, which is basically a subsidiary of that. We kind of handle everything ourselves, recording, filming, audio editing, video editing, all that kind of shit, man. I don't want to say graphic design. Let me tweak that. We can handle some, shit.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? I try not to take on too much because then you get the inquiries and was like, I don't really do that. I didn't go to school for none of this shit.
Yeah.
But no, man, I definitely appreciate you brothers, man. This has been a dope experience, and anytime that y'all in the city, man, let me know.
Definitely.
If I'm ever out your way,
man. When you in New York, man, hit me, man.
I'm gonna be there next year, brother. It's already in the books, so I'm probably
say less, bro.
I'm gonna find out the time frame and make sure I hit y'all, man, so that way I can touch down and really be shown what it's about, bro. Like, I gotta get out there, man.
We're gonna take you to Brooklyn.
Yeah, bro.
We're gonna take you to Brooklyn for real.
Facts,
you know what I'm
bro,
saying?
facts.
The Times Square thing is cool, but
nah, it ain't what I was looking for. You know what I'm saying?
you gotta go through the hoods, man.
Meet him in the jungle, man.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
That's dope, bro. But yeah, man, y'all brothers take it easy. And again, All Over Radio, Caution Mr. 700. We out of here.
Word.
Yeah.